Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. We're here in Chevy Chase, Maryland at the Geico headquarters. We have a good show for you today, and let me tell you who some of the guests are. We got number 83. He had 10 catches in the Super Bowl, 22 for 193 yards. He has the record. He is one of the famed posse, Ricky Sanders. Who's that, you? Now we have a man that he, like fast women, fast cars, and cool summer breezes. He come when he want and he leave when he pleases. He has 699 catches in the NFL. He rivaled Jerry Rice for a long time for the best receiver ever. We got G-Man, Gary Clark. Since we bringing wide receivers in, we got one of the best, and he had 732 catches, one of the best the Redskins have ever had. He could have been one of the posse, and I tell you what, he's in my posse now, Santana Moss. We'll be back in the morning. When we come back, we'll have a great show for you, even though the Redskins did not have a great game. We'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I just saved a whole lot of money by switching to Geico.
Huh. We should take a closer look at Geico.
You know, Geico insures way more than cars, boats, motorcycles, even RVs.
Geico insures RVs? What's an RV?
The thing we've been stuck on for 5 years.
Wait, I'm not a real moose?
We've been over this, Jeff.
We're stickers.
I'm not a real moose.
Give him some space.
Deep breaths, Jeff.
What's a sticker?
Take a closer look at Geico. Great savings and a whole lot more.
Welcome back to the show, and as you know, the Washington Redskins did not have a good day on Sunday. A matter of fact, they had a bad day. They could have beat the Dallas Cowboys very easy. I wanted to say Dallas Cowgirls, but I'll hold off on that. As I said, I got three of the greatest receivers in Redskins history here, and the reason we got them here today for a simple reason. Only one receiver really turned that game out on Sunday, guys, and I mean, you had other good receivers, but Crowder had a great game.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a great game. He had a good game. He's out there. I think he's always been a receiver that if you give him an opportunity, he tries to make plays. And unfortunately, some of the other guys had an off game. There's certain times in the game where you just have to make those catches. You have to. Critical points in the game, you have to make those catches. Don't get me wrong. Everybody here on this set, we've dropped passes at critical times before, but not repeatedly. Not repeatedly. Chance after chance after chance. So. But Crowder did have a good game.
Do you think it was the ball being wet or anything? Maybe it was the way it was being thrown?
Come on, man. We're professional athletes.
I mean, in other words, you guys, if you touch it, you're supposed to catch it, right?
Yeah, it's just when you got 3rd and 5 and it's a critical time, even if the ball is too high, you're going to get it. One hand, you're going to do something to bring that
Whatever
ball down.
you need to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to make those plays.
Now, do you think, though, that maybe they were targeting him for a certain reason? I know they always try to go to Dobson in the end zone.
Because nobody else was catching the ball.
Yeah. You just got to find that guy. You know, one of the things that I see when I'm watching the games, I don't see enough attempts to those guys so those guys can be great. You know, we can all say about the drops, yes, true and all, but you have to go after these guys early and often. I was one of those receivers that if you had me in a game and knowing I could be productive and I'm just sitting around and wait for the opportunity, it kind of lulls you to the point to where you feel like you're not out there and you're not being wanted. So with these young guys, knowing that we're missing the two guys that had 1,000-yard seasons last year in Pierre and Djax, you have to show these guys that, you know, they're going to be valuable enough to, you know, get some targets early and often. I was happy to see a guy like Crowder step up, but when you know you're dealing with a guy like Dotson that has so much skill level, but you haven't seen it thus far yet in his career, and a guy like Pryor who is just transitioned into this position, you have to give them some of those catches where they can get their confidence up first, and then we can expect them to make those big plays when it comes their way.
They're not going to Pryor as much as they were earlier.
Yeah,
Do you
it's-
think there's a reason for that?
I think his confidence, he kind of lost a lot of confidence in himself coming out of the preseason. You know, he had a lot of drops in the preseason, and folks got on him. And he has to understand, you know, you're the quarterback. You heard the worst of the worst. Yeah. You know, quarterbacks get blamed for losses. They get blamed for wins. So he should know how to handle when people come at you. As a receiver, you drop the easy ball, you drop the hard catch. It don't matter what you do. When you drop passes, guys are going to be on you. And we brought you in here to replace two promising, you know, wide receivers in this league. So when the folks got on him and he heard the whispers in the preseason, it kind of got him. He brought that bad feeling he brought that bad vibe into the regular season, and now he hasn't shook it yet.
So what you're saying they're into his head right now, but let's look at this. Did they have to throw the ball a little quicker on Sunday because of the offensive line? I mean, you virtually have 4 new people out there and 1 starter.
Yeah. But we still had our shots.
Yeah.
That's the key with everything that happened to the line, with Kirk getting hit as much as he did get hit. But that happens. Sometimes the line breaks down and you get hit. That's part of the game. But when I still have my shots and I have my chances, I got to make the best of my chances. I got to catch that rock. Perfect example is like that game, very similar to the game Santana had in Dallas years ago. We needed a playmaker to come up and make plays. He made plays back to back. Everybody thinks the game is over. I know. I'm having a white party at my restaurant that I had at the time at South Beach. They starting to leave because they think the game is over. All of a sudden, he goes down, scores. We're screaming. All of a sudden, my white party got crowded again. They're coming back in. And then he comes back in and he closes it out. Because he's a game breaker.
That's a winner.
And that's what you need.
You got to have somebody be like, you know what? And I guarantee you, at the end of the day, he's silent. He's quiet. He's quiet when he played. But I guarantee he came back to the quarterback and said, I can do this again. Come to me. I want the rock. Come to me. Give it to me.
You really saying they're not really showing that they want this rock as well.
When I don't see any type of argument between a receiver and the quarterback at all, meaning that receiver like me, if we're in a game like this, and I think we have an opportunity to win, and I ain't getting a rock, that is a problem. We're going to have a conversation, and I don't care who's looking at it. I don't care who's seeing it. We're going to have that conversation.
And that was just what happened in 05. You know, we was in a situation where I just came from the Jets, you know, with a trade. Me and Lavernius Cole switched spots, and you know, out the gate, the first game of the season, I had a decent game, 90-some yards, and, you know, okay, this is my introduction of being a Redskin. So all week long, you know, we run 1,000,000 plays just for me to, you know, go out there and be productive. And we getting into the 4th quarter, and I'm pouting because that's how I handled things back then. I was a young guy still, I was probably 24, 25 years old, and I'm just pissed because I'm like, you know, as a coach, you should know what you have. And if you put me out there and had me dog-tired all week running these plays and we haven't ran one yet in the game, then it's on you. So Portis came at me and asked me what was wrong. And that's how everything got started. He's like, bro, what's wrong? I'm like, man, we ain't run nothing. We haven't did nothing that we said we was going to do, you know, for this game. He went to Coach Gibbs. Coach Gibbs came back and said, oh, you want the Dino? That's what you put it in for. And that's where we went at it. After we got the first touchdown, he came back to me and said, catch your breath, because we get them stopped, we going back at it again. And so that's how it's all started. You know, I wasn't a Gary Clark when it came to being vocal to quarterback, because I never wanted to rattle them to where they had to force me the ball when I wasn't ready. I hated being
You mean you didn't slap the quarterback
every
like
now
Gary
and
Clark
then,
or jump on him? Argue with the coach on the sideline. You didn't do any of that?
If I give you eye contact a little too long, then you know what time it was. And, you know, I put a picture up on Instagram some weeks ago with me and forgot Campbell. We were sitting next to each other, and I was just looking off into the space, but I was pissed. And I was like, the coach was talking to Campbell, and I wrote a comment saying, yeah, coach, whatever he said, I was open. That's how I handle things. I would sit right next to you and let you feel my vibe and let you know what we should be doing. So these guys someone has to start speaking up. You know,
Leadership.
Someone has to come out of that shell and say, look, At the end of the day, we sitting around here waiting on someone to make a play. I want to be that guy, so give me the ball.
And that's what I loved about being with the posse, man. This guy, man, he would go after the coaches, get in the locker room. We down 20 to nothing. He's throwing chairs.
That's a little bit too much information.
But that was the way you were. You were young then, but
I was that way when I was old too.
Well,
I'm still that way.
a little bit. But it was just exciting.
Didn't y'all
time.
think they should have run the ball more?
Well, they couldn't. They couldn't. I mean, you know, I do want to tip my hat off and say, you know, kudos to those guys who had to come in there and fill in for the guys who was missing, but I didn't see them having a chance behind that new line.
You know what? I'm gonna have to take a break. This is live television here. I got a cough. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, Vernon, you all are actually in this game most of the time. You got into the red zone about 3 times in the first half, but it's the turnovers that you all got shot in the foot with.
Yeah, it was a messy game. It was the turnovers. We have to get that right as well. Correct that, and just play football. Just play football, and you know, have fun, and just make plays and win games. That's all we have to do.
Yeah, but you got into the red zone. That's a good situation.
Yeah, it is. We got into the red zone. It seems like we always get into the red zone, but you know, like I said, together as a team, collectively, we have to execute, and we know that, and that's an area we need to get better at.
You got Seattle, who just came off a win over Houston, 41-38. You've got to go up there to Seattle. You know how hard that's going to be. Talk to me a little bit about where this offense is and what do you all have to do to just get everything clicking. I know it was a lot of turnovers against Dallas, but in moving forward, what is the key right now?
For us as an offense, start fast and stay fast. I think that's the biggest thing for us. And then, I mean, we're going down to Seattle, the Legion of Boom, so it's definitely going to be a battle there with their fans. They just came off a win, like you said, beating Houston. So, you know, those guys, they're going to have their crowd going. So, and they have one of the best defenses, you know, in this league the last few years. So we just got to go out. We just got to execute and just, you know, the drives that we've had opening up games, you know, we've been putting up points. So we just got to do that and then continue to do it, just drive after drive.
So one more question. You all got down in the red zone like 3 times in the first half, and you had pretty much came away with 2 field goals and the touchdown. But the key is you can move down the field and all that, but in the red zone, punching it in for the touchdown, that is so key in the games in moving forward, because with Seattle being able to put up points like that, what is going on in the red zone?
I think it's just on us executing, and then, you know, as a group, we just have to understand the closer we get there, the faster things are happening. So we just got to execute. We got to stay on our blocks. We got to catch the ball. We got to have perfect and crisp routes, because, you know, it gets tougher to score once you get inside the 20, and those field goals, we just have to make touchdowns going forward.
I'll have the langoustine lobster ravioli.
For you, sir?
The original call was for langoustine ravioli. Langoustine is a tiny kind of lobster. Slight shellfish allergy rules that out. plus my wife ordered the langoustine. I will have chicken tenders and tater tots.
If you're a ref, you way over-explain things. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Sir, we don't have tater tots.
It's what you do.
I will have nachos.
Even with the turnovers on the offensive side of the ball, you all held Dallas still out of the end zone to 9 points, so you all were still in the game. Talk about the play of the defense overall.
I feel like in certain situations we played pretty well. You know, we responded to sudden change where we got they got the ball with the short field position. I mean, the one after the block field goal. I mean, they're at the 2-yard line. It's with that kind of offensive line and that running game, it's tough. But other than that, we had a couple good ones where we held them to 3.
This was a first time for me to see these type of injuries. I think, how many of our offensive linemen said 4 or 5, all down. I've never seen that before happen. It's crazy. I can't really say enough much about how crazy that is. It's kind of like the guys got depleted. Defensive line, we a little banged up as well. Secondary, linebackers, you name it, we got it, but that's no excuse. We're not making it one either. We just got guys that got to come in and fill in for those guys, and got to go out there and play. You got to put your hard hat on and go to work. It's the NFL. Guys not going to take us as wounded dogs or wounded men and go out here and play. You on that field, you better scrap up because it's going to be go time, whether you like it or not. So we played in every position out here, so we just got to continue to fight and go through these little adversities we've been faced with, and knowing that it's going to be a brighter day soon. Just when that is, I couldn't tell you, but we just got to come out here and scrap up every time we go on the field.
How much more do you guys take as a team, considering everything you guys
I don't know, but I'm going to ride this thing till the wheels fall off. I think that's any indication of how we going to be. You back a wounded dog into a hole. His only option is to come out scrapping, and that's what we got to do. We 3-4 right now. Season's still young. We ain't reached the halfway point yet for our games. Next week is a big week for us. We can go 4-4. Hey, looking on up. I mean, we ain't hunting this thing. Still ain't lost hope. I think when you lose hope, that's when you lose it all. So as long as you got that, we'll be fine. We'll be all right.
Welcome back, and as I told you, I had to cough. They got me choked up talking about wide receivers up here. They act like they were the only ones in the game. And we were talking about how the Washington Redskins did not have a great running game. This is becoming a problem. Now, I'm very much aware that they do not have their linemen. Matter of fact, now they may have four new starters again this week. But at the same time, this was a problem before the starters went down. And this has always been, when you guys were with the Washington Redskins, that foundation was the running game. What can they do to get this running game back? Do you just run over and over until they get it right?
Well, I think
and that's where I would think.
I think their passing game is their running game. Yeah. I mean, a lot of our passes 4 yards, 5 yards. Because I mean, that's our version of that is a version of our running game, especially when we're screening to Thompson.
So you think this is the game plan?
I just think that's how a lot of people in the National Football League run the ball now. It's through short passes. We're not a vertical team. We're not a vertical passing team. When you're a vertical passing team, that's your passing game. When you're not a vertical passing team, they've incorporated that in. That's why a lot of times Thompson will take a screen. He'll take that screen and run 5, 10, 15, 20 yards. But it's incorporated into a running game. I mean, and then we still do run the ball, but it's. Come on, I mean, I'm a receiver. I can catch 10 balls in a game, and then I have 50 yards.
But think about
that's running back.
193 yards you had in the Super Bowl, 10 catches. Then another Super Bowl, you got Smith running for 204 yards. You need a better balance. You can't have that be in your running game. You got to have something to go to. And on Sunday,
that was all in 18 plays, dog.
18 plays.
Those numbers are all in 18 plays.
Yeah.
18
plays.
18 plays, dude.
10 catches and 193
We
yards,
turned
2
it off.
touchdowns. And
We turned it off after 18.
But see, you got to understand,
Yeah.
when we sitting here talking about the Redskins and we wondering why they sitting where they sitting at 3 and 4, half of that reason is because they don't have the balance.
Yeah.
So that's why, yes, that running game needs to be addressed. I feel sometimes they run the ball just to run. You know, they run it just so everyone can say, yeah,
So
we
they
ran
can
it.
yeah.
They don't try to get a rhythm with it. You know, you have to give those guys a chance in the backfield to get their rhythm also. I remember when I was with Coach Gibbs in 05, you know, one of the things he set us down in the office and told us, he said, Portis, you have to have at least, 36 rushes. And Cooley, I want to give you 15 attempts, and Tanner, I got to give you 15 attempts. That was our offense. We made sure that we knew the guys that was going to be productive enough. I guess he looked over a couple of weeks and said, okay, these are the guys that keep showing up. So you know what? Y'all getting the ball. And the other guys just going to get 1 or 2 attempts here and there. And we went with that, 10 and 6 that season. So they need to find out right now. I feel like they have the same season that we had back in 05. They started off pretty good. It wasn't great. And then now they find themselves going downhill in a downhill spiral. Things could change drastically come this week when they see Seattle. So if they find themselves losing 3 games in a row, we've been there in 05, and then we went and won the last 5 games to get ourselves in the playoffs. They have the team and the players to go out there and see themselves having a postseason chance, but they have to find out who the guys that they can keep throwing that ball to or giving that ball to so they can go out there and get something more out of that offense.
Plus, we have too many mistakes on both sides of the ball, and you look at that on offense as well as the defense. But on Sunday, I don't know if Kurt was rushed a lot, but I don't know if he had a particularly good game that day.
No, I think he had an off game. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, but still had a good enough game to win.
Yeah.
Trust me, still had a good enough game to win.
That's what gets you. They could have won the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's kind of a good sign when you play bad, but you can still win.
Still could have won. Yeah.
That's a good sign. You know that you do have a good team. And again, I'll say it and I'll say it again and again. You have to go into the game expecting to win, not hoping to win.
Yeah.
They hope to win right now. I have to expect to win. When I expect to win, I typically win. When I hope to win, it could go 50-50. I know I'm going to make this pass. Well, I hope I make this pass. I hope to make this catch. I'm going to make this catch.
Yeah.
I think dealing with the conditions, I ain't mean to cut you off,
No,
but
no problem.
I think dealing with the conditions, as far as the the crappy weather, and having your whole line, not show up. Kurt had an okay game. We've seen worse from Kurt with everyone there. So, I watched Coach and Kurt talk on the sideline, and Coach told him, like, hey, he gave him a handshake because he felt that at the end of the day, things could have been worse.
Exactly.
We went out of here, and even that last play where they picked it off and went in for a touchdown, it seemed like that's been the same thing happened to us every week, either before the half or late in the fourth quarter when we're trying to make a surge or trying to find our way back into the game. Things could have been drastically worse, and I have to have a little more confidence going into this second, this game in Seattle, knowing that these guys who they had to put up there in this mischief offensive line, that they'll have a little more, understanding of what we want out of them so they can be a little better. But I think now with knowing where we stand in our division, in this league, and where we at, things have to change, and they have to just find those guys to make Kurt not have to do so much with his arm again.
Exactly, and I think about it, and you guys, as you know very well, it doesn't matter about the weather. You got to play ball.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl may be played in the rain, so therefore you can't let the weather be a factor.
Right.
But it still comes back to like this team they're getting ready to play, Seattle, a balanced team. Haven't scored a lot of points, but they got the Legion of Doom, everything with their defensive back. They got a pretty good defense. They got a consistent quarterback. So you can't go in there with your offense only being able to run pass the ball. You got to be able to keep the ball away from Russell Wilson. If you can't do that, you're going to have a problem. And it has to be seen. And I don't know if we're making all the adjustments that need to be made at halftime.
I think, if we can go back to that, where we're saying you expect to win, and if they go in there saying that we hope we win. I went into the meeting Saturday night, and I talked to some of the guys, and I thought they were going to be sitting there like, man, we ready to go, and I was like, hey, you guys are going to do fine. The offensive line, I talked to him, I said, you guys are going to be fine. He said, yeah, we hope we do good. We hope we do good tomorrow. But
So that's an
You know,
attitude.
it's just an attitude.
That's just
We
an
gotta go.
attitude. And see, I can tell how you guys feel, and that's why you're sitting up here with Super Bowl rings and 732 catches, because you had the attitude.
And you know, with me, I take it personal, you know, and I'm from out of town. I live in Houston, and I come in town and, to see these games, and it hurts me because I know they got a better team and they have a good team. It's all about confidence. They got to get in there and start working
I don't think
together.
they understand the legacy. I
You
don't
know?
think they understand the legacy.
Well, you know what, Gary, you're about to get an attitude now because we got a question and Donna Hopkins on the show.
Why
We
is
haven't
Donna-
introduced
why is
Dr.
Donna on the show?
Let's go to Donna Hopkins for a question from a fan.
That's right, Tony. You're not going to hear from the fan right now. You're going to hear from me. And Gary talked about the pass being the run. Well, that's half the problem right there. The Redskins over the last 2 games have ran the ball 17 times against the Eagles, 15 against the Cowboys. You can't get it done that way. And then let's talk about third down conversions. 4 of 11 against the Eagles, 3 and 11 against the Cowboys. You're not going to get it done if you can't go downfield. And then Tony talked about mistakes. In the last 2 games, the Redskins have had 7 turnovers. That's the problem right there. You turn the ball over, you cannot win games that way. And Chris Thompson, they need to put the ball in his hands because when he has the ball, things happen. But this is for the receivers since we have so many on the show today. The Redskins seem to go from sideline to sideline passing the ball, a lot of underneath stuff, but they don't go downfield. What is the problem right there?
Guys,
What is the problem?
She
What
summed
is
it
the
up
problem?
pretty. Hey,
That's
Gary, now
the
Gary,
problem.
you know she did a good job.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she gave you all the stats she talked about, and she's saying side to side. Why are they not going downfield? Is it because they don't have Jackson here any longer?
That's the
Gasson?
problem.
That's a big thing. Now, we mentioned on this show earlier that you don't get rid of 2,000-yard receivers. And you planning on some young kids that really was getting open last year because of the 2,000-yard receivers, as you very well know. And now you planning for them to be those 1,000-yard receivers, but you're not getting the ball deep. And then when they got it deep,
We're taking a shot, but a drop. There's some. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
that's what I was
taking
about
their-
to
they're
say.
taking their shots. Like, I mean, there's times if I make those catches, then I'm a 100-yard receiver for the game. As a receiver, that's our goal. We want to get 100 yards receiving for each game that we play in. That's kind of like our goal. That's the standard. But at the end of the day, it's about results. So my offense and my defense should be based off of not necessarily how many times I'm going to pass the ball, how many times I'm going to run the ball. What's going to be the result of the play that I call? What's the result? The key is football is deception. I have to make sure I deceive this person to make them think I'm doing this when I'm really doing this. It's that simple. They try to make it so complicated and it shouldn't be. My job is to deceive you. If I don't deceive you, I didn't do my job. It's just that simple. Deceiving is the portion of the game. That's the NFL. I deceive you. Santana's going post, I got to make him think I'm going corner. That's what Santana wants you to believe. He's running the post right, he's going to make you think he's going in the corner
so what you're talking about is experience.
So that's the results.
It's results.
I call the game on the results. Not how many I run into that too. I mean, sometimes we run the ball, and never pass the ball. Why? Because the results is working.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know what? You have to. Let's just take the gloves off. What you just said, I see the same thing on defense. A lot of people think when you go out there as a defensive lineman, you're just playing the game. But when I played, and when Charles Mann used to be out there and Dexter, I told the young guys, you got to have a game plan.
Right.
And you have 4 moves, but they all have to look alike. And the first one you set them up with. The second one, you make it look like you're doing the first one, but you're going a different way. The third is one that you kind of go in the opposite way, but the fourth one is your bread and butter. So what you're saying is receivers, they got to have a better game plan for themselves. And is that experience we're talking about? Or are we talking about it just doesn't happen anymore?
It's preparation is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the same
That's what I
preparation I
wanted to hear.
took into my last game as a player, I did it as a rookie, as a player. I was prepared to go in and play. That's my job. My job is to prepare myself to go in and meet whatever challenge comes my way and be ready for it.
You heard it here. Preparation is most important. And I tell you what, you got receivers here, and they always think they're the ones that run the
We
whole
are right.
game anyway. That's why they're not talking about the running game. When we come back, though, we're going to talk about that defense because they need to do a little better as well. We'll be back in a moment.
Coney Island has been around for a long, long time. Reminds me of how Geico has been saving people money for over 75 years.
First date? Hey, big guy. Come on in. Let me guess your weight. Win a prize.
Sure, why not?
12 ounces?
Sorry, mate, 4 ounces. I've been taking the stairs lately.
You win, big guy.
Sorry. Excuse me.
Wow, he looks so much more real on TV.
Yeah. Over 75 years of savings and service. Get your rate quote today.
Welcome back to the show, and I know thus far we've talked a lot about the offense. We'll get into the defense now. But Donna Hopkins have a fan that has a real important question for the guys up here on the panel. Let's go to Donna Hopkins right now. Donna?
Thanks, Tony. Before I let this fan answer the question, since you're going to defense, the Redskins play the Seattle Seahawks this week. They put up 41 points on Houston in that game. That's going to be a tough day for the defense coming up. But I've got Isaac Lewis, a question for the panel.
Hello. Do you feel that the NFL should make a rule outside of the collective bargaining agreement about standing for the anthem when the NBA has already set the precedent for it being in their CBA?
That's a very good question.
Great question.
And, you know, that may be solve the problem that we have right now because you got a split in players and a collective bargaining. You don't want the owners to, you know, you had stuff said the other day about their team, just like the Jaguars owner. So right now, somebody need to come with good sense. If it could get into collective bargaining, then that would make it a law rather than taking away somebody's rights. But, you know, I got my different opinion on that. I think the kneeling and everything now, it's time to really put that aside and take that you have everybody's attention now. So take that and go into your communities. Take that with your players and work for change and work for it to be better. Right now, you got their attention. You don't have to put in collective bargaining. I think now the players, you got everybody's attention. You need to go out. Go to places like Houston where they're having problems anyway.
Yeah.
Try to improve just everything rather than to keep just kneeling and doing that. Right now, you got their attention.
You know, I'm gonna chime in on that, and I'm far from being a political guy. I do believe that the attention everyone sees and everyone knows what's going on now. So what, you know, Colin Kaepernick did from the start, he wanted to raise awareness about why he was trying to make a stand or take a kneel. And we all see, we all want this change, we all on the same page. We have to find some kind of equal or medium because I don't want to see us tearing apart each other because you got to understand something. I'm a player, and that's all I am. I'm a player. So we don't understand what these owners are going through trying to, you know, continue this business of, you know, pro football, dealing with our audience not feeling that these players shouldn't be kneeling or should be standing, whatever you might take. So I understand some of these owners, how they feel and say, hey, like you heard Jerry Jones speak out and say, I need all my guys to kneel. Stand. We would kneel for the cause, but we would stand for the anthem. It should never been about the anthem, but now it is. Because it never was about the anthem.
It really was.
You know, but now that they have brought that into everyone's eyes and tried to make it about that, we just need to get into one big room, find an understanding, and squash it. And then at the end of the day, represent the people that given us our freedom the right way, because we are appreciative of those guys who go out there and fight the wars and fight the fights they fight for our freedom. I know I was and I still am today. And I have a lot of family members that have, you know, lost their lives and served for this country.
Right.
But it was never about that, and I think that now that the awareness is here and everyone knows what we taking this kneel for, we should get over that and find a way to move on.
And I agree with you totally on that because for the simple aspect that answer Isaac's question, you don't want to put it in the collective bargaining because that's just another way of taking away rights. And it's really up to the players now to make their decision and understand the awareness, as Santana said, is there. Now you take that awareness that you have garnered from the fans, from the owners, and from the other players, and you use that for the change. And instead of just doing the same thing, you use that to make it better. You guys agree with that? I wouldn't want it in the collective bargaining. I
No,
don't
not
want
at
it to
all.
have to
It
be
don't need to go
there.
that far.
Because really, you're not doing it on your own. You're doing it because you're forced to.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's talk about forced to. Our defense is forced to play well, but they seem to play well in the first half. But when they need it, they can't get it done in the second.
Tackling.
Tackling.
Exactly.
Tackling is key.
Must learn to tackle. It's really simple.
But what do you see? You don't think that
You're missing arm tackles. I mean, no, they're running through tackles.
Yeah, like
that can't
yesterday.
happen.
Like yesterday when running back was getting through there, slipping through holes. When they hit the guys, they don't bring them down.
They don't wrap them up.
Don't wrap up. It's like they just.
any segment? Is
Tag.
it the defensive line? Is it the linebackers? Or just the whole, in general, the whole defense?
I think from yesterday's game alone, you can see a difference in those inside guys not being there. Ignaz was the only guy, that to me was still giving us hope, and then he left the game with a fractured hand. So, missing that guy, missing the little rookie, Jay Allen, him and Ignaz together, man, those guys brought a different force and brought a different surge to that defensive line that we know that can get after the quarterback for so many years, but we never had that surge in the inside. Watching the game yesterday, I saw that we didn't have that surge anymore. I mean, Elliott wasn't getting touched for 5 or 6 yards down the field.
That's what I'm saying.
And when he was starting to get touched, it was by guys running through and trying to cut him. I haven't seen a form tackle unless you saw the guy Brown, a couple of times. That linebacker, he's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, he puts it out
he's
there.
He gonna run through you or run over you. However he gets it done, he gets it done. But from everyone else, you see guys just knifing down. And I was a corner in my younger years, and I remember I didn't like tackling. So what I did was just run at your feet or try to make sure you jump or something like that. So I see a lot of that going on. They have to find a way to use better form tackle, because you giving guys a chance to get 1 and 2 more yards. That's going to cause the defense to have to fight for 3rd and shorts all the time instead of having these guys in 3rd and long.
But you know what? Do you think that they're not hitting in camp like they used to?
They don't practice it.
And they're not practicing it any longer. And then they get in the game, and it's new to them.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
unfamiliar to
I mean,
them.
something has to happen, because you can't have people versus. I mean, sometimes it reminds you of Sandlot when you see an arm. Well, am I going to arm tackle you? I can't arm tackle you. I'm a defensive back. How am I going to arm tackle you? I can't arm tackle you. I got to form up, or like I'm gonna take your legs out.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna do something to make sure you get off your feet. You're not just gonna run through me.
Well, Donna did such a good job. I think Donna Hobson have another question for us from a fan.
I do, Tony, but let me throw out this stat for you already. The Redskins are depleted with injuries already, and they may lose Breland for the season with a knee injury. Those x-rays supposed to come out soon. And also facing Seattle, Russell Wilson passed for over 400 and some yards, and then Richardson, the receiver, 5 touchdowns on the year. Question for the panel is from Charlie Williams.
Thanks for taking the time. So the Redskins over the years have had a rich tradition of great blocking tight ends. Donnie Warren, even recently the Logan Paulsons, even Cooley. But I'm watching the Redskins this year. We're getting no blocking from, understand injuries with Jordan Reed. Now's Paul, I'm not sure if I'm seeing much blocking there, and even Fred Davis. I think that's been very impacting to our running game. And then, we kind of took for granted the blocking of Garcon from the receiver position. So I think there's some fundamental things that's hurting our running game. It's not just the guys up front. We're not getting the blocking on the edges as well.
I think that's a very good question, guys, and you guys know even better than I. And you do look at, we do have more receiving tight ends other than Davis, and that is a difference the way the game is going now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I remember distinctly with Coach Gibb, you guys receivers, you had to be able to block.
Oh yeah,
no doubt. Just to chime in on what he talked about, us not having those guys, this league has transformed to have more stand-up tight ends. Half of these guys are not traditional tight ends no more. Our offense, which the Redskins' offense, Jay Gruden's offense, that's why they keep at least 3 tight ends, because you got to have at least 1 or 2 of those guys that can be blockers. Now Paul is a blocker. Vernon Davis you know, even being the elder of them all, he still blocks at times. He might not be the best, but he put up a better, attempt than our guy, Jordan Reed. So, you know, with the new offensive, tight ends these days, you can't expect them to do it. You want them to do it. You can't expect them to do it because they allow you not to be that, dominant in that area. I do believe that one of the things that I said yesterday about the receivers having to step up and be more a part of this offense is because they have to be utilized in the blocking game, key in the blocking game, key in the run game by blocking and in the passing game. One of the things I took pride in being a little guy. I was 5'9". I tell everybody 5'10", but we'll say all that. But honestly, I took pride into knowing that, if I'm not having a game that I want and catching the ball, I'm gonna go knock somebody in the dirt. I'm gonna go and show up on the film and make sure that I'm seeing that I'm doing my job for someone. I took pride in Spring Portis or whoever was in that backfield because every time they scored off one of my blocks, it was just like catching a touchdown myself. So those guys have to understand that, we need all-around football players. The way you win in this league is by being an all-around contributor and handling your job at all times. There's 11 guys on that field at one time. If I handle my job when it's going for that play, then I give that play and that guy who's running the ball or whoever getting the opportunity a chance to be successful.
I agree. I agree. Again, it comes back to preparation. You have to prepare. That's your job. My job is to go out there, catch the ball, and block. Because you're doing one or either. Either catching the ball, running around as a decoy, or blocking. Those are the things I'm doing.
Before we take this break, do you think this preparation problem is all through the league? I think so. And I tell you what, when we come back, we'll talk about defense. But that's one thing I see on defense. Like you guys, now you're offensive players, and you see that the defensive players aren't even wrapping off any longer. They're letting guys get. We always was taught to play on their side of the ball. In other words, I need to be 2 yards into their backfield. Now, we see it all over the league. The running back, as you said, is not being touched until he's 6 yards down the field. That's not defense.
You can see at practice. When practice is over, officially over, how many guys are still on the field? Once practice is officially over, it's time to go in. How many guys are still on the field? This guy
working on their crap.
Monk on the field. This guy, I'm sure, is on the field as well. Who's getting their work in? Outside of just, this is my practice schedule. I have to perfect my craft. Perfect it.
You know what I did every night? I took film home. I took a projector. They don't use projectors anymore. They take their iPads. I had this big projector walking there. They laughing. I went to practice. I went to practice about 2 years ago. And I said, where are their playbooks? They up there with iPads and everything. That's why they got me. But I tell you what, we're going to take another break right now. When we come back, we'll talk more about the iPads, the defense, preparation, everything. But we got to do our job right now, so that means paying some bills. We'll be right back.
Paying some bills.
It takes hard work, grit, and determination to become a professional football player like Luke Kuechly. But it only takes 15 minutes to see how much you could save on car insurance with Geico.
We're proud to announce Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Scholarship Contest is back yet again this year. Eligible candidates will receive laptops if indeed your composition is selected. If you are graduating high school senior, send in your composition. The subject this year is what can your generation do to impact how social media has affected our nation's security. So get those essays in.
Oh, Tony, Josh Norman said after the Dallas game that there's still a lot of football to be played. They haven't even reached the 10-game mark. He said the key is just to reset. Now with me with a question for the panel is Marion Freeborn.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and thank you for being here at Geico. I'd like to get back to the offense. In 2016, the Redskins ended their year with 45.2% in third down conversions. Away, they're at 36% in the conversions. At home, they're 39, so they're averaging about 38.2% in third down conversions. The number one team right now is at 49%. The second is Philadelphia with 48% in third down conversions. What would you recommend that we do to move those 10, 15, 20 points?
That's a great question.
We got to get her job
that
first.
is a great question. I tell you what, and that's the key to the game,
What
too.
I would do is get her with the Redskins, because I think she would be a better
Right.
coach.
Exactly.
She know how to do it.
I tell you, that's the truth. I mean, she got the facts.
No rock.
38%, and the top one is 49 and 48. I mean, come on, guys.
You got to see
The numbers.
Does that mean you got too many yards you need to get on third down? Are you not gaining enough early, or is it your game plan, or what?
I look at it both ways. Simplify things. You know, this offense right now, the scheme of things has been through CT. If Chris Thompson not doing his thing, then the offense ain't moving half the time.
Right.
So if that's your guy, and I'm gonna go back to 05 because it seemed like that's the year that we found out what we can do on offense. If we wasn't running well, or if we needed something to happen on third down, we found a way to get me on the slip screen. We found a way to put me in motion. And I'm not just saying necessarily me or CT in this case, but find a way to move these guys around so they can be productive. Right. You cannot keep setting these guys in the same basic formations that these teams have been studying and watching all week long and saying, okay, they're gonna run this play, they're gonna run that play. You have to find a way to, scheme your plays to where, okay, I want to run this play that I ran last week that was productive, but I have to restructure it and make it look different. Disguise it. There you go. He said the key word, disguise it. So I don't think we do a great job of disguising things. We set in these basic formations and say, okay, now make a play. And these guys are just like us. They get paid to play this game.
Yeah.
If they're studying what we're doing and we're studying what they're trying to stop us from doing, then give me a chance to be successful. And I don't think that half of the time they're getting an opportunity to be successful because they're showing some of the same different looks.
Now on the other side of the board, it seems like the defense, they give away a lot of plays on third and long, and I don't like that either.
Yeah.
Too many in the game on Sunday, they got 3rd and 6, and the defensive lineman, a linebacker jumps off and give them a 3rd and 1, and they convert that, and that's where the game changed.
Yeah, even in the fourth quarter, they had some opportunities to get some turnovers, right? I mean, get the ball back on third down. But on third down, you have to make that. Make that.
You got to make that
so
happen. You got to make it, and you got to stop them. So, like that young lady said, I think third down is a big problem on both sides of the ball. And the other one is special teams. Well, I know Hopkins is out right now, but we can't have guys missing extra points. Yeah. That kills morale, missing field goals.
Yeah.
They made the wrong choice. They had a chance to get the guy that Dallas got, and we got who we got, and you see what happened in the game.
One was a mishandled snap, too. Like the guy fumbled the ball before he got it down.
Right, and that may be due to do you have a new snapper as well? We lost all kind of other linemen.
But you have to fix it whatever.
Sunberg been around, so I don't think they're going to go that far as, getting Sunberg out of there. I think with the conditions yesterday, I'm gonna lean on that because he's been there from day one and he's been one of our most consistent guys on our special teams for a long time.
Now, when we come back, we talking about the next 3 games that they have. And the next 3 games are going to be tough, and it may define their season. We come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that, and then we'll close this bad boy out. We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, I just saved a whole lot of money by switching to Geico.
Huh. We should take a closer look at Geico.
You know, Geico insures way more than cars, boats, motorcycles, even RVs.
Geico insures RVs? What's an RV?
The thing we've been stuck on for 5 years.
Wait, I'm not a real moose?
We've been over this, Jeff.
We're stickers.
I'm not a real moose.
Give him some space.
Deep breaths, Jeff.
What's a sticker?
Take a closer look at Geico. Great savings and a whole lot more.
Ah, the ravens, never fleeting, still are winning, still are winning. But when the pests come knocking at your door, and the bees that bumble sound like the roar of the stadium's rumble, and you see the ants and roaches creeping and crawling as the moonlight hits the floor, have no fear, for PMSI will rid you of those pests to scamper and scatter on your floor. Once they treat, nevermore.
Well, once again, our favorite segment of the show, what's bugging you guys around the NFL? So each and every week we bring in someone that is an expert on this. Patty from PMSI, our pest control people. What's bugging you?
Well, Tony, thanks for having me on the show, but what's bugging me today is Gary's jacket.
Oh, it is?
Actually.
Oh, really? I'm having deja vu because it looks like y'all wore the same stuff last week.
Uh-oh. You better leave that alone.
Yeah, let's not touch that. Let's go talk to Adam and see what's bugging him right now.
Thanks, Patty. What's bugging me is the Philadelphia Eagles not getting the credit they deserve. This is the best team in the National Football League, and their front four is as good as it gets. That's what's bugging me.
Well, you know, Adam guys, no matter if they win or lose, he thinks they're the best team in the NFL.
Those Eagles, fly whatever.
They not that good, Tony.
Yeah, but they don't have to blitz for the.
I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't like the
get the
Eagles.
pass right.
It's a lot of football still to be played.
Well, we know who the best pest control is, PMSI. Next week they'll be back. Maybe they'll bring the critters back, but we'll be back in a minute.
Welcome to this week's Sports Bar Challenge. This week's game, we have the Miami Dolphins hosting the Oakland Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Well, Crystal City Restaurant likes the Dolphins. Crystal City Sports Pub likes the Raiders. Hard Times Cafe likes the Dolphins. Greavy's likes the Dolphins. Outback likes the Raiders. And Henry's Ale House likes the Raiders. Look for this to be a tough, hard-fought game with a Miami victory all the way.
Hey, Tony, what is up? You know, it's come to my attention that a lot of your viewers don't know my name. Well, more about that in a second. But first, about your Washington Redskins. All is not bad. They're 3-4, and there are a bunch of mediocre teams in the NFC division, so they can still win a wild card spot. The bad news this week, they have to go across country to play Seattle. Now, Seattle, they had a huge win over Houston last week, but they have things to prove. First of all, they have to prove that they can run the football. And you know, Washington can't stop anybody, so the Seahawks will try to run. And if they can't run, well, Russell Wilson had over 400 yards passing last week. And secondly, the Seahawks also want to show that they still have the Legion of Doom, which spells gloom, for the Redskins offense. Now, about my name. Well, you know I like the Cowboys. Yeehaw! And if you don't know my name, just remember, I am the man with the...
And Tony, in the picks this week, you went 5-0. You're 18-16 in a tie with Donna, but Gary Clark knows his sports. He's 24-10. Mike is close behind at 22-12. And the game this week, Baltimore at Tennessee. Everybody's picking the hometown team. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Everybody's picking Drew Brees and the Saints. They are back. Atlanta and Carolina. Well, Tony does live in Atlanta. All the rest of us are picking Carolina. We're making sense. Kansas City at Dallas. Tony knows something we don't know. Why did we all pick Dallas? And Denver at Philadelphia. Well, that's a good pick. We all pick Philadelphia. And Carson Wentz, you are right. You are the bullies of the NFC East. Kudos to the Eagles.
They've got 3 big games coming up. They've got Seattle on the road, then they've got Minnesota at home, and then they've got the Saints who are playing great ball. These are must-win games. Tony?
I tell you what, guys, that's right. They got the Seattle, then they got the Vikings, and they got the Saints. All of them are playing a lot better right now, and as we say, at 3-4, they can't afford to lose much more ground on, well, they're not going to win the division probably. But they want to be in position to get into the playoffs.
Well, I think they have to win the 3 games for momentum. the momentum to take them into the playoffs. But they definitely have to win these 3 games, in my opinion. Santana may have something.
What do they need to do to win those games? Do they need to run the ball more or what?
Just being realistic, you know, I'm not sure, and I'm going to always say that they should be able to win every game they go out there and play. Realistically, right now, they have to look at trying to see if they can be as even as possible in these 3 games.
Yeah.
Where could they sit at after these 3 games and still have a chance to get in? 2-1, 1-2. How many of these games you can win? You know, you can go in there and say we can win all 3 of them, but it's not realistic. But one of the questions you asked, do they have to run the ball? I think they have to be balanced. You have a balanced attack going in. You know, being balanced slows things down, runs the clock, and keep you with the ball in your hand, so it gives that offense on the other side less of an opportunity to go after your defense.
Right.
So we'll go with the balanced attack.
What do you think, Rick?
You know, I know it's going to be tough for them because all 3 of those teams are division leaders. You know, so but they got Seattle on the road. I believe if they can knock them off and start getting some momentum, they still have a chance to do something. You know, I still think they can do something out there. But
And I think you're right. They got 3 division winners, and you're right, Santana. Balance. Gary, they just got to play and eliminate mistakes.
Results. They got to play results football.
And you know, the one thing I think they have to do is they have to also just eliminate mistakes and play as a team. They got to look at these games one at a time. They can't play each and every one and think about the next one. They got to play the one they have. We want to thank you here from the Geico headquarters in Chevy Chase. It's been great having this show, and we're glad that you have watched us. So as we say each and every week, we never say goodbye. We're going to say in the minute. Thanks my guys for being here, and I tell you what, thank you once again. Good night.
all right.
I'll have the langoustine lobster ravioli.
For you, sir?
The original call was for langoustine ravioli. Langoustine is a tiny kind of lobster. Slight shellfish allergy rules that out. Plus, my wife ordered the langoustine. I will have chicken tenders and tater tots.
If you're a ref, you way over-explain things. It's what you do. If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Sir, we don't have tater tots.
It's what you do.
I will have nachos.
We're proud to announce Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus Scholarship Contest is back yet again this year. Eligible candidates will receive laptops if indeed your composition is selected. If you are graduating high school senior, send in your composition. The subject this year is what can your generation do to impact how social media has affected our nation's security? So get those essays in.